There was chief of the surveying at the Texas General Land Office, that he was stuck on the fact that it had to go exactly what the bearing was called for. And I said, Herman, what if you got a league of land and it is due north on one side? And I said, it's 5,000 varas all the way over here to this other side. And it's called it to go north too. Does that mean it goes north? Oh yeah, it does. I said, well, it's not. I said, it can't be north. I mean, if this is north, I said, you might make his line parallel to this one over there. And he had a hard time understanding it. As a matter of fact, that's the reason I wrote this paper, North Compared to What? Well, I presented this paper in '86.
I see.
And I wrote it and put it in the hands of the land office prior to that, but first time I presented it was in '86. And it always bothered me because here we are, would say we're going to run that thing due north, and that's not where that line was. As a matter of fact, you could see it on the ground over where the line was, and it wouldn't go up that line. And I tried to explain to him in the land office. He was one of the guys that inherited the job as chief surveyor and hadn't ever had a whole lot of actual survey experience.
Or wrote this paper, North Compared to What? What are some of the conclusions that you drew as you researched and you gave this talk, and like when you were making the points, what were some of the main points? Is that north is just a word, or when you say north compared to what are you actually saying there, Darrell?
Well, I mean, what are you talking about? Are you talking about true north? Are you talking about magnetic north?
Grid north?
Or today you got grid north, astronomic north, and so a lot of these people in the early day field notes, they would put down on their field notes a declination that they were using, and that's the angle between magnetic north and true north. Mm-hmm. And of course, this varies, and a lot of the early day surveyors didn't know a whole lot about it, but they knew that it had to be a declination set on there. And but a lot of them had a practice that they would put a magnetic declination, say it was 8 degrees in 30 minutes or something like that. They'd put that and show it on their field notes to begin with. Well, when they started running a line, and it was common with a line that was already there, and it was supposed to be running east and west or north or south or whatever it was, and when they turned down that line with their compass, and their compass wasn't reading that, they would change their declination on their compass to where their needle would be looking down that line, and they still called it north, south, east, or west, where they may have changed this thing a degree or so over here with their declination. And it makes all the difference in the world. And a lot of times they recorded, I ran this line with a declination of thus and so. I've got old field books in there that show all of this, where they ran these things with various declinations, and which is one of the things that's common to all of this. When they get through writing up their field notes for the final product, they never mention the fact that I changed that declination in those field notes. The document that went on record somewhere, it was still north, south, east, and west, and yet those lines may have changed by several degrees.
So unless you had all their actual field notes that were actually made in the field by the survey crew, you saw the actual final, we use the word field notes to mean different things, but when you see had you not gone back and researched the actual crew's field notes, if they did document the change in declination, you just had to assume that they ran one declination around the whole survey.
That's right, unless you had his field book.
Field book, I got you.
You wouldn't probably know that. Now, sometimes they wrote it in their actual field notes that went on file, like in the land office. I've seen it in the land office a lot of times. I mean, there a set of stuff, the old boy said this was run without variation, and this was run with variation. And then some of them that were sitting there trying to write field notes from an office survey, it'd get that mixed up and use both,